Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are painting Begonia, and it is day 25 of our 30 days of watercolor flowers, so let's get started. Begonia is a really vibrant red flower, so we're going to go all in with a very vibrant red wash. So we don't want it to be too light because we're not planning on adding more red into the flower for dimension. This flower is just very, very stark red. So we're going to start by doing a common pattern that we've done before, where we paint these simple flower petal shapes around a large white center. And the reason we want to keep a large middle area of white space is because the begonia has a very large, vibrant yellow center, and it's kind of what makes the begonia very unique, along with its very unique leaves that we'll paint later too. So as you can see, I'm painting some of the flowers straight on. You can see the entire flower. I'm changing up some of my brush strokes. For example, like the flower on the top is a little bit more angled in some of my brush strokes so that it gives the illusion that you're looking at it from the side, or that the flower petals are more going to the left. Whereas the flower in the center, you can tell you're looking directly at it. It's not angled in any direction. So playing around with the different shapes of your brush and the angles and the direction that the petals are going helps with the realism. I like to paint a few really obvious flowers that you're looking straight on. You can see the entire flower, nothing's hidden. And then I go through and add, half a flower here, half a flower there, a petal here, a petal there, just really balancing out the composition, but also making them look like they're bunched together. They're part of one whole bushy plant of begonias. And there's a space on the upper left that I'm keeping open. I'm not filling with any flower petals because I want a very nice prominent leaf to go there. And you'll see in a minute, the begonia leaves are amazing and one of the highlights to this flower. So it's a little repetitive. I'm going to speed through a few of these flowers here, but I'm just trying to balance out the composition and where I feel like more flowers need to be added. Okay, so now for the leaves, and these leaves are so fun. So I'm using a very dark bluish green. I'm doing a 2-stroke method where I'm creating the leaf using 2 strokes of my brush, light pressure on the end, lots of pressure in the center. I'm going to come back to that leaf before it dries, but while I have this bluish green color on my brush, I am adding in some of that greenery in between the begonia flowers. I love when there's a little bit of bleeding between the greenery and the floral that I'm painting, but if you don't want that bleeding effect, you just need to wait for your begonias to dry before you're adding the greenery. And I don't want a ton of the bleeding because the begonias need to be that nice, beautiful, stark red, but a little bit is beautiful to me. Okay, so you can see that the leaf on the left is still wet. We want it to be a little bit wet for what we're going to do next to it, but I'm adding a couple more leaves on the right so that we can do this technique to all 3 of them at the same time. So begonia leaves are this nice dark color, but they have these pointy red edges. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking that beautiful red that I used for the begonias, and I'm going through and creating little spikes on the end of the leaf that are able to blend in with that leaf. So it creates this beautiful effect of blending and bleeding, but then you get that contrast of the green and the red, and it's just so beautiful to me, and it looks really realistic to how the begonia leaves look in real life. So now I need to start creating the stems that are coming along the bottom so that I can do another one of those leaves on the bottom left as well, just to help balance everything out. So I'm creating the stems, bringing them up to the flowers, and then I'm going to paint a leaf right here on the left side. Red and green are complementary colors, and so that means they are opposites on the color wheel. And when you combine 2 complementary colors, you make the muted versions of those colors. And so it actually works really well to have these colors blend together. It's really pleasing to the eye. Using complementary colors in a composition really helps the colors pop and stand out. So you'll see when I add red to this leaf that the red color quickly overtakes the leaf. And I think my red must have been too watery, too much of a strong wash instead of more pigmented. And so I fixed it by adding more green, because we want the red to be there, but we don't want it to be the dominant color of that leaf. And it really did work, fixed it totally fine. Now I'm just going through the composition, adding more green in areas where I hadn't added the green yet, and I added some green to the other leaves as well for more depth and texture. Now I'm adding the bright yellow center to the middle of our flowers. And when you do this, you need to make sure that all of your red flower begonias are totally dry. We don't want the red and the yellow mixing together. It will muddy up that center. It will look more orange or more red, and we really want it a bright, vibrant yellow so that it stands out and it really looks like a begonia. And now that we have practiced our begonias, I'm adding them to my watercolor flower guide, and I'm making sure to leave a very large area on the right here for that leaf, because I feel like the leaf is kind of a star of the begonia and really makes it stand out. And that is it. Thank you so much for being here with me today while we painted begonias on day 25 of our 30 days of watercolor flowers. I loved this tutorial, I always do. I hope you enjoyed it too, and I will see you tomorrow for day 26. Bye.